The camera is straight ahead, and we are live. So welcome back, live from Red Hook, Funktion House, second episode of season number 4. Very successful first episode last week with Jonathan Peters, but tonight we're going to keep the house music going here at the Funktion House, and we'd like to welcome our guest this evening, DJ Rissa Garcia.
Hello.
Is it Rissa or Rissa?
See, everybody has a different feeling about this. It depends on how ethnic you are. Like, if you're Spanish, people say Rissa. If you're from Staten Island and you love the Wu-Tang Clan, you say Rizza. So it's all good with me, however you want to say it.
Well,
it's
welcome,
fine.
Rissa. Rissa, welcome to the Funktion House.
Thank you for having me.
So, where are you from exactly? You from New York?
I am from Staten Island. No.
Really?
Yeah.
Born and raised?
Born and raised in Staten Island, and then once I turned like 21, I got out of there and moved to Manhattan, which is where I
rushed
live
out of
now.
there,
Yeah.
huh?
So yes, technically I'm from Staten Island.
What part of Staten Island?
I grew up in Rosebank till about 10, and then I moved to the other side, Tottenville area.
Okay.
Went to Tottenville High School. All that good
so we have a
stuff.
Staten Islander.
Don't judge me,
I would have never guessed.
right?
So, what is your background, though?
I am Puerto Rican. My parents, actually, my mother was born in Puerto Rico, but she moved here when she was young. I do not speak Spanish, unfortunately, which gets me made fun of a lot by my fellow Puerto Ricans.
You don't
but
speak Spanish?
No, no speak Spanish. So, yeah, I'm 100% Puerto Rican. My mom and dad grew up in Puerto Rico, and then they came here when they were young, but they weren't allowed to speak their language, so they didn't teach me Spanish. For all those that ask me, I don't speak Spanish.
I have the
It's not
same
my
thing.
fault.
My father, I'm Italian. My father's from Italy, and he never spoke Italian in the house.
Right.
So none of my siblings or I speak Italian.
But any relatives that do, they get on your case. Like,
They
oh,
do,
how come
you know.
don't speak the language. Blah,
Yeah,
blah,
I
blah.
mean, it's
like,
I understand Italian, but I only speak it if I'm in Italy. I won't speak it like here in Brooklyn. If I feel like.
like a white Italian.
Yeah.
That's how I feel when I speak Spanish.
So how did you get into music?
Actually, it's my parents' fault because when I was younger, my birthday parties, they would have DJs in the backyard. I grew up in like this little community called Chateau Villa, and it was a private community, and we had like this big pool area with a backyard, and the older guys that were in the neighborhood, they would DJ the parties, and everybody would just, have a good time.
Who were some of those older guys or those DJs?
They're not around now. I don't even think they even had a name back then, but actually my older cousin Tony had one, Steve. So, I mean, I don't even remember it, actually. I just saw pictures. I was like, oh, that's where I get it from,
So those
I
are the
grew up
guys
in that kind of party environment, so.
So they gave you the bug.
I really caught the bug.
What was
at
the
vinyl.
music that they were playing at these
Back
parties?
then, it was probably a mix of Spanish, freestyle.
Freestyle, yeah.
Exactly. Probably R&B style, like the good old days, the good hip hop.
Yep.
Mostly probably freestyle, a little bit of house, like the Two Without Hats kind of.
Yeah, that vibe.
Está loca.
Those were big records.
Exactly.
I mean, they were huge.
And my parents, they always threw the Halloween parties. They threw the New Year's Eve parties. And, so I always just kind of, I love that house party vibe where everybody knows each other and everybody's there to have a good time.
So you were infused at a very young age.
Exactly. And then I grew up, started going to clubs, and I hit, tunnel, the usual little circles. But, when you're young, you don't realize, you're just about the partying and, everything that goes with it.
Yep.
And then back in like 2000, I went to vinyl, and I was like, this is different, And I was like, this was it. I saw Danny Tenaglia every Friday, and I was like, that's it.
And he changed your life.
Exactly.
like he's changed many people's lives.
It was like that moment, like, like this is really what I want to do. The control that he had over the crowd, and the passion that he had for what he did, and just the way everybody was so connected in that room, the vibe, the energy, and
there was no alcohol there,
hooked for life.
right?
No
There was
alcohol.
no alcohol in the club.
But it was at that time where you could go in and out, and it didn't matter. People there for the music, and
So religiously, every Friday you were there.
every Friday, yeah. Danny even made a joke one time, and he got on the mic. He said, "Rissa, do you even go to the bathroom?" I said, "Are you wearing a diaper?" I'm like, I would just be there dancing all night long from the beginning to the end. And when I first started going, I would just like pay attention to, the room, what he was doing, and I'd be like, wow, he's actually controlling the energy and vibe throughout the night with the way he's playing the music.
Yep.
Yep.
If he wants to slow it down, he'll slow it down, and it's just got me hooked.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I hope kids today get that message that, it's not about, the glamour. It's about the energy and the connection between the people, the music. Forget about, staring at the DJ. It's about, everybody together.
Yes. It's tough nowadays to get that vibe.
Exactly.
So when was it when you got your first gig, your first break into the New York City club scene?
Actually, it was in 2004. Thanks to my friends that told me how to play and let me play on their equipment when I didn't have any yet. It was like this little lounge called Tut, and it was me and my old partner Carlos at the time, who we played like the whole night, just us two. And since then, I haven't had a set like that where I get to play all night. I'm lucky if I get like the 2 or 3 hours, but that was it. From then on, it's just been slow progression and just trying to keep grinding and get out there as much as I can.
Well, we've noticed like over the last couple of years that you've been playing more.
Yeah.
You've been playing at some really cool spots now.
Yeah.
And I mean, I first took notice of you when you we're very good friends with the Forward Disco guys. And following them I know John for a very long time, following them on social media, and seeing them playing a lot of gigs with you.
Yeah.
And then we're just seeing your name out there. So it's pretty awesome that you're getting to play some of these great spots in the tri-state area.
Absolutely. I mean, Sean and Chili, they were the first ones to actually give me that big main stage kind of break. So. I think it was like 2014. We did like the first Faux Disco together. It was like a tribute to the 90s with Danny Krivit. And it just like was the most insane moment that I've ever had because, it was the first time playing in like a big major heavy duty night. It was a Saturday night. It was full on packed house. And I was like, wow.
And you're playing with Danny Krivit.
Exactly. Who, fortunately I gotten to know throughout the years. And he's been a little bit of a mentor to me. We always talk about music, trade stuff back and forth, and it's cool to have a relationship with him as well.
Yeah.
But like I said, I will always look back to Sean and Chili whenever I have an opportunity to bring them back and play with at my event, Dancing Room Only. I always try to get them on the bill with me whenever I can, just to say thank you because you guys opened that door for me.
Yeah.
So what's Dancing Room Only?
This is my attempt at fighting back at everybody that just goes out to stare at the DJ, record, and stand there with your phone all night. I mean, from a dancer's point of view, from a DJ's point of view, it just doesn't look right when you're on the floor and just not engaging with everybody else. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sure, it's cool. There's certain moments you want to capture and, take a picture with your friends. But there are people that just go out just to stand there and stare at a DJ. And it's like, you're not getting it. Like, this is not what we're here for.
Does it make you uncomfortable when people are staring at you while you're playing?
100%.
It does.
Like, people don't understand. Like,
Some DJs
it's
eat that up.
I know, not me. I'm not one, like, even just sitting here now, I'm cringing because I'm not one to be like, all eyes on me. Plus, it's not what we're here for. We're here to make you dance. DJs are for dancing. And so I started Dancing Room Only as to get the message out there to younger kids who are going out to clubs, dance, have a good time. And I'm not saying like you can't come and just watch from the sidelines, but like when you're on the floor as a dancer and you're just standing there taking up my dance floor space when I'm trying to dance and I'm trying to fight for whatever I can, it's annoying because you're just you're like kind of blocking the energy of what's going on with the dances. So
and they don't know what
stand
they're
to the
missing.
side.
They don't know what they're missing. I mean, like that, like that's what it's all about when when you go to experience a DJ playing at a nightclub, just how you went, every Friday to experience Danny Tenaglia, like the journey that DJs like him take you on, where they're building a story throughout the night. I mean, it's an enjoyable experience to be on that dance floor to dance to that, And these generations, they don't know what they're missing.
Exactly. And like you're missing the point of what DJs are there for. Like if you're not dancing and I'm DJing, it bothers me because it's like I'm not doing my job. So if you're enjoying the music, dance. That's what. So that was my attempt at fighting back.
All right, so dancing. So how is the brand doing? I mean, how are your parties doing?
Good. I mean, it's a little difficult now with everybody's, there's so many parties and so little venues and
Yep.
There are a lot
everything
of
in
parties.
Brooklyn. And but we're good. We're doing some things at LeBain, Good Room, all the good stuff. I wish more things would happen in Manhattan because that's where I live.
You got to move to Brooklyn.
You got to move to Brooklyn
I
now.
know. Everybody keeps telling me. I'm like, never in a million years did I think that we would be traveling to Brooklyn to go to a party.
Crazy,
Yes.
right?
I'm happy I
And-
never left.
It's getting deeper and further. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, Brooklyn is where it's at.
It's definitely taken over, but hopefully something will swing back.
So you have you've been playing a lot at the Good Room. You have like a little bit of a residency there now.
Not officially, but I do play there a lot. My friends say, "Well, how come they haven't made it official?" I'm like, "Oh, it's all right. I'm just happy to play. I don't care." So I play, just about every other month or so.
Yep.
It's one of my favorite rooms because it has that good old school vibe. Like it's nothing fancy. It's just a good, dark, solid sound system, dance floor, wooden floor.
Yeah.
So and the staff is cool. Everybody has laid back vibes. It's like going to somebody's house and
Yeah.
jamming out.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what about production? Are you working on any music? Do you have any music out?
Yeah, we just released Sounds of New York Various Artists EP with some of my fellow producers, including Sean from Faux Disco.
Nice.
His jam is doing very nicely. He's getting the charts and all that good stuff, so I was happy to see that. And a couple other local guys, young up-and-comers that probably most people never heard of, but they make good music, so it's, I'm glad to get it out there for them. My buddy John Billick from Cahoots Records, he's got a nice little...
Cahoots Records?
Yeah, you know them?
No, I know that's a cool name though.
Oh, yeah, because they're always in cahoots, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got a jam on there. I have one. So I'm also working on a remix right now, which my buddy Carlos just finished mixing for me. So hope to get that out within the next month or so and trying to get my next EP going.
So all this music's dropping on your own label?
Yes, right now everything is Night Child Records, which was a label I started 2008. And then I took like a hiatus to get Dancing Room Only going.
Yep.
I also manage the Hubby's brand, the Lollipop brand, Ariel Lollipop. So
Yep.
I took a little break from the label just to manage those two things. And now that everything's kind of balanced out and going smoothly, I try to focus on all three.
Yeah.
Not easy, but
Yeah, definitely not easy.
we make it work.
What made you want to start your own record label?
Well, back then, we were just getting into production and the DJ thing, and at the time, it's when the digital music first started coming about, and maybe it wasn't good enough to put on vinyl yet, but it was good enough to get your door open and get your name out there on a global scale on Beatport and TrackSource and whatever digital sites there were. So that was it, just to get your name out there
Just
as
to
much
get
as you
music
can.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now-
a lot of people are doing that. A lot of people are just like, you feel passionate about a record that you make and nobody wants it. And you're like, well, I think this record's great. I want to put it out.
Yeah,
you know?
unfortunately, there's not a lot of nurturing with young artists. Like a lot of these old big labels, they want you to have like a certain, status,
Yeah,
quote
like
unquote.
your followers.
Exactly,
You have to have
so-
100,000 followers, or we're not signing your great
Exactly.
record.
So in order to give the underdogs a chance, I wanted to do that. So
Yeah.
I grabbed a couple of guys that I knew at the time that were local kids on Staten Island that were making music, and so I was like, hey, let's do something.
Yep.
That's
and
great.
We did it.
So how does distribution work in getting those tracks? So obviously you listen to the tracks, you sign tracks from these artists, and how does it go from your record label to say like a Beatport and a TrackSource? Like how does that process work?
We use like a distributor. We do LabelWorks right now. They're
Okay.
pretty big distribution. So sometimes sites don't want to deal with small labels, so it's better that you have like that third-party aggregator that will get you on the big stores like Beatport. Like
Yep.
they won't take you right away. You'll have to go through a third party until you get more established, and then maybe you could break away and go on and do an exclusive deal with them
Yep.
on their own. But
And I'm sure they're overwhelmed, like LabelWorks, because there's so many labels.
absolutely,
Everyone.
everybody. I mean, that's the double-edged sword with technology. Is yes, anybody can do it, but
Yes,
yes,
anybody can.
anybody can do it.
Yeah, I mean, and for DJs like looking for music, there's a ton of stuff to go through.
Honestly, like it gets overwhelming because there's so much to keep up with. Like I'm glad that I have like a select few labels and producers that send me music, and once in a while I'll browse. But I understand that.
So how does that process work for you?
Which one?
Like putting your music together for gigs, because like you said, it's so overwhelming with all the music that's out there. So like, what are the techniques that you use?
Fortunately for me, most of it ends up in my inbox. So thank you to all the labels and producers who happen to be friends of mine that send me stuff. Most of what I play is from them because I seek them out and we kind of get to know each other.
Yeah. Well, you could CC the Funktion House on those emails.
No, those are secret weapons.
So do you ever hold on to, because of the abundance of music that's out there, right? Do you ever latch on to a track and keep it in your set for a while?
Depends. You mean something that I'm releasing myself?
No, or just like a track,
promos?
Somebody sends you a track and you fall in love with it. Like, how long do you keep it in your rotation? Being that there's so much music.
Oh, it depends on the if it's a jam. Like I've had like a couple of jams that I'll still play like 2 years later. It's very rare when it comes to digital music.
Yeah.
When it comes to my vinyl, I'll play that much longer.
Yeah.
But there's only a few jams that I would probably stay consistently playing for the past couple of years. But other than that, I'm constantly rotating and just try to do each gig has its own separate folder. Like I'll be like, okay, this will fit this style of night or what time I'm playing, who I'm playing with. So I try to just keep it to a minimum. But it's also hard because there's so much. It's like,
Yes.
Okay, I'll just put that in there and that in there and that in there.
And then, yeah.
Before you know it, I'm scrolling all night, going 3,000 tracks looking for that one jam. But
Yeah.
I don't care. I love it. I like the excitement of the hunt.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing I miss with vinyl. You're going through your records. It's like, it's not the same when you're going like this.
Yeah, you could spend hours online looking for music now.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I know like what to look for when it comes to like if I don't have a jam that which is rare because like I'll look for a certain name and then I'll just branch out from there. I'll look for like a label that I know and branch out from there. So it all just like has roots.
Yep.
I don't just go in blindly because
that
gets crazy and overwhelming.
If you just go onto Beatport and start looking through charts and going that route, it's like it's really tough to find gems.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a bunch of labels that put out a good select batch of music, so if you latch onto that label, you're gonna get some good stuff. And then you have a lot of because like there's a million producers, but there's a couple of really good ones out there, and they put out some really good tracks, so you could latch onto one of them too, and ride them for a little while.
Exactly, it's all about association. Once you find a group of producers that you like, you look up their labels, and then you look up their labels, and then they keep it's like a virus. It keeps spreading. Which is great because, you get to see all these different labels. Even when I shop, the only thing I do is click on releases and I just go down the line and hit play. It only takes me like 2 seconds to know if I'm going to play this jam or not. If my head doesn't move, next.
But you ever find yourself like you go on some of these sites and you could fill up your crate like before you know it, it's like $400 worth of music.
And then you don't think about it because $1.99.
Yeah. No, but do you ever find yourself like where you because I find myself doing that sometimes too, where you'll hear a track, 2 seconds, oh, this is a great track, and then you get it, and then you listen to the whole thing, and you're like, oh, maybe this wasn't such a great track after all.
Nope, rarely happens.
Really?
Yep. I don't know what it is, but I just have like this thing with my ears where I just know automatically, okay, boom.
See, my problem is I'll get sent the track and I'll listen to it and then like I'll hear it out and I'm like, what is that? And meanwhile, I have it in my inbox. For a month.
That's happened to me a million times.
Yeah.
Even listening to my own sets, I'm like, wait a minute, what is this again? I can't remember. There's so much to remember, and it's like we have no association with the music anymore because there's no artwork with what you're looking at. Before, when you had the vinyl, you'd be like, I knew everything from the record sleeve.
Yes.
Me too.
So I didn't even have to look at titles. I would just look. Okay, boom, I associated. When you're looking through a digital screen, I'm like, okay, wait a minute, which one is that? Who did that? What does that go? How does this go? I don't know.
Yes.
And with so much new music coming in, it's like It's very hard.
It is very hard.
Yeah, I can't remember half the new tracks that I have. I'm like, wait a minute, I knew this was good, but I can't remember how it goes.
So there's the DJs that play off like their head, like they'll think and they'll search for a record and play. I don't play like that. Like
Yeah.
I have to visual, I have to see it to play it.
I don't even know how to search on those things.
Well, that's why I enjoy playing more so off of a laptop. Because visually,
you have that search
you
function.
Can,
See, I
yeah,
can't get
I mean
into
the
it.
search. I mean, I tend to play off the top of my head, but you can create those folders, and I just feel that they're easier to visually go through on the computer than they are. Although they're making it a lot easier on the.
I think about that too, and I'm just like, I spend so much time on a computer. When I'm playing, I just want to play. I don't want to look at a screen.
Yep.
I don't want to read. I just want to play. And for me, when I'm at my best is when I'm not using my brain, when I just let everything go and just flow. And so when I'm scrolling through it, I'm looking, even though I'm looking for a certain track, I might see something along that way. So if I'm too organized and I already know to look for that, sometimes I find a better track in that hunt.
Yes.
So I think you're kind of missing that element because you already know where you want to go. But then sometimes in that hunt, I'll find something else. So I'll be like, oh, wait a minute. This
play
is
this.
actually
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that exactly knowing your music too
All right.
well.
All right. I get it. I get it.
So labels beside your own label, what label you finding is putting out heat right now?
That is top secret information. I cannot divulge such things. No, I'm just kidding. My Cahoots buddies, my Plastic People, Hustler Tracks, Best Modus, Best Friend, We Are House. Shout out to Cynthia and the German crew. Organic Music. I can't even think of a lot. I'm trying.
That's a nice amount right there.
Yeah.
We're going to have to beep that out later, though. It's only for the live people.
This was good.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of more, but you know how it is.
So
So much.
what's your upcoming gigs you have?
Actually, we just confirmed I'll be back at Laban or Laban, if you're, as I said, ethnic
You say
enough.
Lebain, I say Lebain.
Yeah, everybody says it different. Everybody says Laban. The French will say it's Laban. So yeah, Laban with Mad Mats from Local Talk, which is a great label, and Ospinoff and DJ Scribe. They're going to be doing I think it's like a crazy back-to-back funk, soul, disco kind of vibe. And then
Okay.
it's going to be good.
So the last time you were there was with the Forward Disco guys, right?
Yeah,
I heard that was a really good
insane night. Yeah, really great night. It's always great when, a bunch of locals can just play and just get to play those peak hour nights, which is rare for us. So, yeah, it was definitely a great time to get to play those 1 to 4, and the energy is there. So,
And do you have your next date for the Good Room?
no, I'm not yet, but we are doing 315 with the Cahoots guys at Elsewhere in the Loft.
Okay.
So that was just confirmed today, too.
Keep him busy.
Yeah, always.
Well, that's awesome.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think we'll probably be back at Good Room. We're trying to work on another date, actually, but I can't divulge with who, but...
So what are we going to hear from you tonight?
Just my usual selection of whatever I feel. House. I usually start out with, some smooth, deep classics, and then I'll bring in the new stuff, and then we'll go back out whichever way I feel, I guess.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Cool. We're going to take a 1-minute break. We're going to get Rissa up on the decks.
Thank you. How do you take a break?